Today we're going to replace this sound deadening, flow restricting stock intake for a VCM intake, which is going to consume about this much space and give you a nice direct shot of air straight into the intake. Now the basics of this are going to be remove this pipe, take this all out, don't forget to disconnect the PVC, and then I've seen this two ways. There are nuts on those posts, and then down there somewhere there's a stud. Mine doesn't have the stud, so I'm not going to be removing it. So let's go ahead and do that. These are the two studs that the stock airbox was on, and then typically there's a stud here. Mine didn't have a stud, so when we do the infill panel, we're going to have to get a 10mm bolt to go in there. Before you put this infill panel in, you're going to have to take the ground off. Note these tabs on the infill panel. These are going to be on the outside, these are going to be on the inside. The top of the infill panel goes on that stud, but since there's no stud down here, there's just going to be a hole. So we're going to put a 10mm in there. After your 10mm installed and your nuts back on, don't forget to put the ground back on. So the next step is going to be removing these supports for the radiator, and it's going to allow the radiator to start falling back towards the motor. We're going to use some brackets to fix the radiator to prevent it from wobbling around. That's going to allow the VCM to go ahead of the radiator and get a bunch of cold air. These locks are ratcheted and locked, so use a flathead, just kind of work it back here, pop the lock out, and then kind of wiggle this up until it comes out. Do the same for the other side. Now your radiator is loose. You can go ahead and locate the brackets that come with the kit and go to the next step. So what you're going to do is you're going to get this bracket, and you're going to take this bolt out. Mine's a Allen key because I upgraded it. And this bracket is going to go, take that bolt out. It's going to go in between the bolt, get sandwiched, and then this bolt or nut that's welded on is going to get held by this bolt. You're not going to need these brackets anymore, so with a 10mm you can go ahead and take them off. Once you have the brackets unbolted, use a needle nose and grab those clips and just kind of pop them out of this so you can take this out. Okay, the diagram's actually wrong. So once you have that bracket attached to here, it's actually going to come and line up right there, and you can use these bolts that you pulled out of the brackets and just reutilize them because the shoulder is good enough so it won't fall in the hole. Once you have that 10mm out from holding the condenser, you're going to want to snake this down, put that up next to that bracket, snake the 10mm through it, and then put this part underneath this bracket, and then I'll try to show you what you got to do next. This bolt is tight, the bracket's underneath, and it's bolted to here. I'm leaving this loose right now, so if I need to make any final adjustments before the intake slides in, we got the room. Now I'm noticing I got a whole ton of room over here not so much over here, and it looks like it's because this fan harness is hitting this bracket that actually holds this box up. So just quickly looking at it, I can either unclip it from here and zip tie this back up, or harder part would be bend this bracket. I think I'm gonna vote for popping this off and zip tying it out of the way. Alright, with the fan harness out of the way, I got more clearance and we're not hitting that bar anymore. So we go ahead and install the bracket on this side. Remember to use the zip tie, tie this fan harness up to this bracket. Again, you can see the bracket through the hole. I'm gonna utilize this bolt from the radiator brackets. As you can see, with that bracket in, we got a ton of room in here. Lots of airflow. Again, these are just finger tight. That way we have adjustment if we need it. So I just realized that the very bottom of the bag comes with these. I guess you can guess where they're gonna go. They pop in there and give you more of a shoulder for that bolt to go in. Again, if you're using MAF, you're gonna have to take it off the stock air box and connect it with the supplied couplers from VCM. You're just gonna put it in between these two. This is gonna go to the actual air box. This is gonna go to the throttle body. This is what it looks like partially assembled. You're gonna make sure the arrow is going towards the throttle body, and make sure that the MAF hookup and PCV recirc is on the right side, so driver's side. For actually installing this on the throttle body, what you're going to want is a pick, and you're going to want to put this on first. Just kind of put this on first, put it all the way back as far as you can, keep it out of the way. What you're going to do is kind of work the bottom on, and then use the pick and kind of walk this on top, push it back, and then walk this onto your coupler and tighten it down. That's what it looks like all bolted up. Now, this is where your PCV return is going to go back into the intake. Obviously you can't reuse the stock one, so they supply you with this hose. So what you're going to do is you're going to snake this out from over here on the valve cover, pull the whole thing out, and utilize this guy, which clicks right onto that hose, runs under the throttle body, and goes into that nipple. Now, I'm not going to be using this because I have a catch can that I'm going to put over there. The problem I had run into when hooking up the MAF that you may not is I get an aftermarket power steering reservoir, and normally there's a clip here that's holding this harness, and it's holding it up, you know, another inch or so, and that was preventing me from plugging my MAF in. So what I did is I just unplugged it from there, routed it down some underneath, and I'm able to plug the MAF in. Make sure to put this clamp on out of the way so that when you put the box in here, it's going to be on there and you're going to have to take it out again. Go ahead and grab the VCM intake. You're just going to kind of want to work it in between the bumper, the support, the radiator, and then get it down, lined up to that boot, snap it on, clamp it on. Use the 3 supplied push pin clips. Fix the intake to the core support. This next part is for the people that ordered the infill panels. You have your driver's side infill panel and your passenger side infill panel. You already installed the VCM. Leave this one out because it reutilizes it. Just kind of line this all up, and then we're going to reutilize that one from the intake. Spare ones that come with the infill panels. Just pop them in. Again, make sure you zip tied that before you put this infill panel on, or you'll forget. Again, reuse this one from the main kit, and then the one supplied with the side panels. And there you go. VCM intake on a VE Commodore or a G8 GT. All that's left is I gotta take my PCM feed and my valve cover feed, feed it to a catch can, and route it all together. Alright, the catch can is installed. Went ahead and redid this line to be the fresh air intake. So it's going to get fresh air from the intake, go into the valve cover, and then waste air with oil in it is going to come off of this valve cover, come into the catch can, go into the intake. So no more oil building up in there anywhere, screwing up your octane rating. This turned out pretty good. Typically this bracket was straight down, bent it straight, repainted it, and it mounted up pretty good there.